What's good, y'all? Today we're going to be talking about the parts of the guitar. Sometimes people don't learn the parts of the guitar, and I think it's absolutely bonkers to not know what you are dealing with. Let's say something breaks. You should know if it's an easy fix or not, and you should know specifically what it is that is broken. Let's say somebody else has a guitar and you have a guitar, and you're trying to compare the differences between your guitar. Knowing the parts of the guitar is good for comparison's sake, and it's also good if you were ever thinking that you were going to customize your instrument for your liking. So let's get into it without further ado. We have a lot of parts right here, and there's a few parts that I don't have written down that I know I definitely want to include. So let me be sure to include that. Bam, just like that. So we're going to look at all of these different parts. Let me grab my guitar. You have the front of the guitar, the back of the guitar, the top of the guitar, the bottom of the guitar. This is the body of the guitar, this is the neck, and this is the head. But when we're talking about it on this guitar, we call this the headstock. Usually on the headstock, you can find the brand of the guitar, unless they're fancy and they like to include their branding other places. But if you are ever confused as to what guitar that you have somebody says, you have a guitar? That's nice. What brand is it? And you say, you find the brand on the headstock. It is a Fender. Sometimes you'll even find the model on the headstock. In our classroom, our students are playing on Yamahas. Yamaha FG series, as it will say inside, but we're not going to look at the inside just yet. Headstock. Simple as that. Not much more to it other than the fact that there are metal parts sticking out of it. And these metal parts are what we call tuning machines. They allow you to play a note, adjust the pitch of the tuning of what you are playing. So oftentimes you might want to adjust the tuning to play things easier or better for you. Oftentimes you might want to adjust the tuning so that you're actually in tuning, you actually sound good. These are the machines that you would use, that you would twist, that you would make your guitar sound pretty. Let's move it right along. Underneath the tuning machine, underneath the headstock, there is this white bar that holds the strings in place. That is called the nut of the guitar. Just like nuts and bolts, it holds the strings in place. Nothing more to it. Moving on. I told you that this is the body, this is the neck, and this is the headstock. Well, if we're talking about the neck, I'm talking about the overall thing. A lot of guitarists like to only consider the back side of the guitar the neck, but this entire section is the neck, from where it is joints all the way up into the headstock. So when it comes to the neck, if you were looking at the front-facing portion of the guitar, there is a system of a bunch of different lines and a different type of wood that's usually on your neck. And that is what we call the fretboard. The fretboard is the entirety of the system. But if we're talking about frets, as it says in E, we're talking about the metal bars, but also the spacing in between the lines. So from the nuts to the first metal bar is the first fret. From the first metal bar to the second metal bar is what we call the second fret. Third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, sixth fret, seventh fret. Now these frets are very important because it helps you understand the difference between notes. Frets are the lines that allow you to change the pitch as you are playing. So if I were playing an open string, but then I press down the first fret, it gets higher. Second fret, it gets higher. Third fret, it gets higher. Fourth fret, and I'm talking about higher in pitch. It gets higher in pitch as it does in number, I guess. So the higher the number, the higher the pitch when it comes to just a singular string. I wrote down fretboard markers on the board too because there are dots on the guitar called fretboard markers. What are these dots? When we were counting our frets, our first fret, our second fret, our third fret, our fourth fret, and our fifth fret, there is a dot right here on the fifth fret. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. There's a dot right here on the fifth fret. And we also have a dot on the seventh fret and on the ninth fret and a double dot on the 12th fret. That is so important. Why is it important? It helps you navigate the fretboard. If I told you to find the 12th fret, you already know exactly where it is because you got a dot. Now there are dots on the front facing portion of the fretboard, but also on the side of the fretboard as well. Now on these Yamaha FG series guitars, the first dot, or the first fretboard marker, if you will, starts on the 5th fret. But with my Fender guitar, my Fender acoustic guitar, the first dot starts on the 3rd fret. That's the reason why you got to know what you're dealing with. You don't want to just call it dots because it's not always dots. If we were to look at this right here, you have fretboard markers starting on the 3rd fret, and they're this shape, trapezoids or whatever. Why did they decide to go with trapezoids? I don't know. Maybe just thought it looked cooler instead of dots. Some people even have birds or flowers or whatever fretboard markers that you want. So it's not always a dot. It is a fretboard marker. It helps you navigate the fretboard. We have talked about the headstock, the tuning machines, the nuts, the neck, the fretboard marker, the frets. Let's talk about cutaway. Cutaway is this little divot right here, right where it says F. It cuts out a chunk of the guitar. Now, I do not have it on this acoustic guitar. As you see, this acoustic guitar does not have a cutaway right here. So if I were trying to play my higher notes on the guitar, I would not be able to play higher notes on the guitar comfortably. I would have to reach around this portion of the wood in order to play the higher notes. For example, it's kind of challenging to do that because I have to reach over. Let's say I'm trying to play full chords. It's kind of challenging because I have to reach over. I don't really have any anchor to maneuver my hands with. Now, most electric guitars, I don't say all, because I don't want to be completely inclusive. Most electric guitars come with a cutaway. As we are looking at this cutaway guitar, or this electric guitar right here, you will see that I am able to hit the 12th fret and the 17th fret with ease because I have all of this space. Electric guitars are also built slightly different, where the body of the guitar and the fretboard or the neck meet. It seems like the body of the guitar and the neck meet at the 17th fret on this guitar compared to my acoustic guitar, where the body of the guitar and the neck of the guitar meet closer to the 15th fret. So it's just things that you would like to keep in mind as you were going out to purchase your guitar, because I know all of y'all want to be future guitarists if you have never bought a guitar before, or just things to keep in mind if you already have a guitar and you're ready to increase your collection. What can you do with the instrument that you have? That is a cutaway. Now, if we were just talking about the body of the guitar that does not have a cutaway, I could tell you about the top of the body and the bottom of the body. We call this the upper bout and the lower bout. The lower bout usually has a lower pitch because it has a lot more body, and the upper bout usually has a higher pitch because it's not that much there. Up next, we have the pick guard. The pick guard is this interesting piece of black design that's on our guitar, and it's not there just for show. It's there for function. Technically, if we were to be playing with a guitar pick, which is this small chip looking device, if we were to be playing with a guitar pick, we would be strumming quite often, strumming against the strings of the guitar. As we are strumming, we would probably touch the body of our guitar. And the more that we touch the body of the guitar, we're going to be scraping into the wood. Actually, the front of this guitar, the front face of the guitar, is the thinnest piece of wood. The more that we will be strumming into that, we will be digging into the wood. So the pick guard protects the wood of the guitar. Now, all pick guards are not made the same. This one is just bland and basic. As you see, the shape is just like a teardrop face, go up and around the circle piece. But this one's fancy. It has a full, cool looking shape. And even the ones that you have on your Yamaha guitars here at the school have a little bit of color compared to mine, which is just black. And mine, the Fender pickguard, barely goes all the way up to the neck. It kind of stops, while y'all's meets all the way up at the neck. So it's just, things to consider when we're talking about the comparison of the parts of the guitar. That's the main reason why you got to learn these parts and why the pickguard matters. You got strap buttons on the guitar. Strap buttons allow you to hold the guitar upright. This is a strap button right here. And then there is another strap button on the other side of this guitar, which allows me to hold the guitar without having my hands on it. And it allows me to play without feeling uncomfortable. It's a guitar strap. Now, the Yamaha FG series guitars that y'all are playing on at the school only have one strap button. Only one at the bottom. Now, even though there's only one strap button on your Yamaha FG series, you can take your guitar strap and attach a string through it or a guitar strap holder piece, whatever tools you can find, that will allow you to hold the guitar right here through the backside of the strings. So whatever resources that you have in order to just hold the guitar upright like this. It's not as comfortable as just having two strap buttons, but it gets the job done. Down to our last three parts. You have the bridge, you have the saddle, and you have bridge pins. What are these parts, might you ask? Well, the bridge is this piece right here, this wooden piece. This is the bridge. And it looks slightly different for electric guitars, but it's still a bridge. An electric guitar has a metallic bridge. It is very similar for the functionality of what it does. It holds the strings in place. On an electric guitar, the strings are fed through the back, so it's just being held in place through the wood. But on an acoustic guitar, the strings are being fed through the inside of the guitar, not necessarily through the back because there's so much body in between it. So how do we hold those strings in place if it is not fed through the back? Through these bridge pins. That is these white things that you see with the black dots. Those are called bridge pins. They hold the strings in place. Nothing more fancier than that. I also wanted to mention the saddle of the guitar. The saddle of the guitar is that white bar that is going across it. The saddle lifts the strings up off the bridge. That way it could be at an adequate string over the frets, through the nut of the guitar, before it even reaches the tuning machines. The reason why it is at this height and why the saddle is so important, it makes your guitar stay in tune. So if you're having problems with intonation or buzzing, it's probably a saddle issue or the string height issue. If you have problems with your string height, there's actually a tool inside the neck of your guitar that isn't even mentioned on this list that I didn't even think to mention. But since you watched this video, I'm gonna mention it to you. Last two parts, sound hole, strings, easy as pie. You got a hole, that's where the sound comes from. Really, it comes from your strings. You strum the strings, the sound vibrates on the wood, but it also vibrates inside of your sound hole, resonates, and then comes back out to you with volume. Now, acoustic guitars have sound holes. Electric guitars do not. There are no sound holes. So if I were to strum this guitar, it would not be anywhere near as loud as the acoustic guitar. You have microphones that pick up metal sounds. We call these pickups. These pickups are adjustable and they can help affect the tone of your electric guitar. All pickups are not made the same. You can see this is a single pickup, this is a single pickup, this is a double pickup, which we call a double humbucker. And these single pickups we call single coils. So there's a lot that goes into guitar and a lot that you will want to compare. And now that you know the parts, it's probably good to think, well, why would somebody have this part compared to another part? Are there benefits to it? Yes, there's benefits to it. Almost every aspect of guitar affects the tonality and the sound that you get out of the guitar. Yes, your headstock affects the tone. Maybe not your tuning machines, but you can get different types of tuning machines, like ones that have locking tuners. You can get a nut that has a locking nut system. Your fretboard could be a different color. Your fretboard could be made out of a different type of wood. The frets could be made out of gold, or they could look silver, or I've seen frets made out of glass. You could get a cutaway guitar. But all of those things are just for comparison's sake. And now that you know what the parts are, you can see how much customization you could use with it. Last thing that I would like to mention that I said is not on this list, but it probably should be, and it should be included in the neck area, which already has 5 things. It's something that we call the truss rod. Inside the neck of the guitar, and I don't know if you can see it, there is a screw right here. That screw, or that opening, you would use an Allen key with in order to adjust the height of your strings. It pulls the neck either that direction or that direction and allows you to adjust the string height or the action of your strings. There's a lot that goes into guitar. After this video, I hope that you have learned the parts of the guitar and you feel a little bit more fluid and knowledgeable of all the things that we've discussed. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below. If not, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.